Who says opponents can't be friends? Lately, we've seen a budding bromance between Ron Paul and Mitt Romney.
Not too long ago, he was taken out of context and he liked to fire people, which was completely out of context. So until I look at that, I give him the benefit of the doubt.
Among my opponents, actually, I tip my hat to Ron Paul. He's one of those that says don't keep on spending too much, and he's willing to cut spending.
I think he certainly would have a more acceptable management style when you consider what I have seen and experienced from the other two candidates.
If we want people who spent their life and their career, most of their career in Washington, we have 3 people on the stage. Well, I take that back. We got a doctor down here who spent most of his time in the surgical suite.
We do try to cooperate with them. And I don't see anything wrong with that.
Joining us now is Jesse Benton, the National Campaign Chair for Ron Paul. Jesse, thanks so much for joining the program.
Hey, Alex. Nice to see you again.
Jesse, let me ask. There does seem to be a lot of positive vibrations between your camp and the Mitt Romney camp, and yet the two candidates have pretty different positions on a lot of things, from foreign policy to monetary policy. I wonder if you think if Dr. Paul is not the nominee, whether his supporters will go over to another candidate, say, Mitt Romney.
I think that's largely up to Governor Romney and how he wants to try to embrace them. If he talks to our supporters and talks to them about how he wants to adopt a more constitutional foreign policy, how he's open to talking about the Federal Reserve, and he talks about real cuts in spending, there's a chance they might come his way, but that's really, really premature. I mean, we're accumulating delegates, we're running hard, and we still see a strong path to the nomination for Dr. Paul.
I want to bring in the panel to discuss this as well. I'm not sure whether it's a ceasefire or an allegiance, but you can see that there is, from the sound that we just played you, there is love. There is good vibrations, as I said before. Maybe not love. I wonder to what degree you think this helps either candidate. Having Ron Paul in his corner helps Mitt Romney and or vice versa.
I think it actually helps both of them in different ways, and I think there's a third person who it helps, which is Rand Paul. And I think that Ron Paul's campaign would probably never say that, but I think that certainly Rand Paul is someone who is seen as having a national future, and I think that whatever his father can do to help him with that comes into play here. I think one thing that was very obvious early on in a lot of the debates last year was that Ron Paul was deflecting a lot of the shots that were coming at Mitt Romney. It was very noticeable. There would be, two candidates would attack, right? Santorum would attack, or Newt Gingrich would attack, or Rick Perry, whoever, and then it would get to Ron Paul, and he would shift it and pivot it to something else. And that was, I think, in part the beginning of this. So that certainly has been advantageous to Romney as a foil. I think that the fact that both campaigns decided they were not going to be part of the CNN debate on March 1st is why that debate did not take place. I think it's less advantageous to Ron Paul unless he can ensure that his supporters' message is heard. I imagine that is part of whatever conversations they have.
Mitt Romney is building a very, very big tent, though, so who knows what would be under there. Jesse, I want to ask you, we know that Romney offered his plane and summer home to Dr. Paul when his jet broke down, and the two wives are quite close. When did this friendship or relationship begin?
They've been two ships that passed in the night for about 5 years running for president, and they've just talked on and off, and they're cordial and friendly and have built a mutual respect.
I have a question for Jesse. Jesse, this is Hugo Lindgren of the New York Times Magazine. Your candidate referred to the cooperation between his candidacy and Romney. What exactly does he mean by that? How do rivals cooperate?
A lot of it just comes down to scheduling. Both of our campaigns, for example, had specific places we wanted our candidates to be on March 1st, and they weren't in Georgia, other states that were priorities for us. And so we talked it out, and we said, hey, let's present a united front and make sure our candidates can get where they need to be rather than being at the 22nd or 23rd debate in Georgia. That's how we cooperate.
Kay, I want to bring you in here because you have a wonderful piece out in the New Yorker on Dr. Paul this week, and one of the notions that you explore is the idea of a remnant. You say, sometimes Paul likes to describe himself as part of the remnant, a keeper of the old faith, holding on for a new age. Albert J. Nock, a libertarian essayist, imagined the remnant as a network of enlightened souls capable of saving and transforming civilization. You know, we talk about Rick Santorum and the rhetoric around Christianity. Ron Paul clearly believes he has a mission here, and the mission may almost eclipse the candidacy in some respects.
Well, and it's funny, they talk in sort of a similar way. When Santorum talks about, you know, America as this great experiment that kind of comes under threat from Satan, Ron Paul has kind of a secular version of that, where he has America as this marvelous democratic experiment. Because it's free, it gets wealthy. Because it's wealthy, people get complacent. Because people get complacent, they lose their liberty, and then you kind of have to start all over again. So there is very much, even in Ron Paul, a kind of an almost spiritual narrative of decadence and rebirth that he thinks needs to happen.
Jesse Benton, we want to hear more of that narrative of spiritual rebirth and decadence and all the rest. We expect we'll be hearing quite a bit from your candidate tonight at the debate, and we'll be looking forward to that. Thank you for taking a little bit of time out of your day. I'm sorry we have to cut it short there. We hope we can entice you back to the program soon. Coming up, will immigration finally come to the forefront during tonight's debate in Arizona? And will we finally learn more about where the candidates stand on the issue? We will unpack that next on Now.